Times. It's 05 now. We have the great pleasure. I have the great pleasure of having Lisa Hathaway here for us to tell us some things around preparation for internships and do well. Lisa is the director for internships and career services at the Boylan College, and some of the things that the students brought up is going to be, I think, relevant for what Lisa would be sharing. Please pay attention. I know it's been a long day. Thank you very much for taking the time, and the floor is yours now.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, it's a pleasure to be here today. I know this is the last day of your workshop, but I appreciate you being here, and I'm really excited to be able to share some information. I'm hopeful that it's relevant, it's interesting, that you'll be able to take valuable information away. So to get us kicked off, just to introduce myself again, my name is Lisa Hathaway. I'm a brand new director for career services and internships. So did anybody have an opportunity to listen to Sandy Brab last year or meet with Sandy in the past?
This is a new cohort of students.
Oh, okay.
So whoever attended last year is not here.
Not here.
And they will
new information.
only to attend once.
Okay. Gotcha. Wonderful. Well, Sandy really had some very large shoes to fill. She had been in this role, I think, for close to 15 years plus. It's a long time. She helped develop some great programs and really set a precedence for our career services through Boylan College. And so I'm new to my role. I just started quite literally in February. So 3 months in. So it's new. I'm not new to career services. I've had the pleasure of the last, 20 years, that dates me, but working with not only job seekers, but workforce industry to help create internship opportunities, workforce development. Also, I had the pleasure of working for CySER Engineering way back when as a recruiter. So that was really fun. It was a great experience, really allowed me to be able to learn more about what employers are looking for, and I can pass that information along to y'all. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, I'm sorry. Gosh, I'm just looking to you. I have a clicker. I have the power. So how many of you are enrolled or going to be starting an internship? Fantastic. Okay. Do you feel comfortable? Can you share where you're headed? 2 weeks. Wow. Very exciting. Cool. Thank you.
Similar that I'm going up to Rome to be a Maven assistant. I leave the week today.
Wow. Very exciting. Thank you.
Science, Technology, Innovation for DOW.
DOW. Great. Thank you.
Similar program to I'm doing a Maven internship in San Diego.
Oh, cool. Great. Excellent. Very cool. Did I miss someone? Oh, yeah.
It's remote, but it's for an ad tech company. It's not a big ad.
Wow. Wow, that's fantastic. And it's remote. So will you be staying here in Pullman?
We go back west side.
Okay.
But might be some also for opportunities.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Snohomish. Okay, great. So ever area kind of Snohomish? Did I get that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Good. Did I miss anyone? No. Okay. So those are the individuals going into internships. Has anyone had an internship experience in the past? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So for startup,
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay.
But they ran out of funding, so
yeah. Okay.
But
That's fantastic. Well, good. Great that they're bringing you back. You can continue that experience.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Well, so I'm curious, for those of you who did not raise your hand, are you interested in going into an internship? Cool. Okay. I see head nods. Yeah. Good. Great. Well, really what I want you to do is put yourself into the shoes of I'm preparing for an internship. How can I maximize my experience and how can I get the most out of it? Because that's really what I want to pass along to you today is really utilizing this experience. This experience is so valuable. I can't tell you, talking to job seekers, to employers, to industry, this is a wonderful way for you to get hands-on experience, but more importantly, it builds your network, right? And we'll be talking about building your network and the value in that because we'll talk about the hidden job market, things like that. But there's so much to the opportunities that you can have and you can gain from an internship experience. I like to tell a funny story. I'm not sure my brother would appreciate it, but in high school, he thought he was going to be an engineer. He wanted to be an engineer, right? He grew up in town. He was buddies with Eddie Schweitzer. They went to school together. Got him an opportunity to be an intern at CySER. Sounds like a great experience. So what an interesting experience. He hated it. He hated it. He's like, I don't want to be an engineer. And so I tell that story because I love internships because they bring so much value, but they also provide a lot of insight into what you would be doing day to day within in a role. And so try not to take, that experience, that negative experience, but it allowed him to understand what he really truly wanted to do. He's now works as a privacy lawyer. He's a lawyer for TikTok, so he does very well. He's very excited. He loves what he does. But I tell that because internships can be a great learning experience, and you can learn so much about yourself and also your future career plans. So, before you get started, what do you think you should do? When you're preparing for an internship, what do you think? What's the first thing that you want to do? Much like you're kind of preparing for an interview, what are some things that you want to do in preparation for your internship? Yeah.
I was sorry.
Wow.
And like all I did was like I hooked in on like the job description and just went over and over and over again and the
Nice.
qualities that you're looking for and I like found specific stories and experiences that I had to relate to those qualities that you were listening.
Nice.
But I also think that a lot of or like a big part of it that people forget about is like the company itself, what it values and like its mission and like what they care about as a company, not just like your role or your department specifically.
Yes.
So into that kind of things and bring it up and why you would like their company as a whole.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Fantastic. I couldn't say it any better. Nice job. That's exactly what you want to do. And I have to say from my experience as a recruiter at CySER, that's the first thing that we asked everyone. Tell me about what you know about us. So those candidates that had absolutely no clue about who we were and what we did, they didn't get very far, right? It didn't show that you valued what they did and that you didn't do your research, right? That's 101. Do your research about the company. I love how you mentioned talk about the mission, the values, right? Culture. Those things are going to be important, not only in an interview situation and when you're stepping into that role as an intern, but also you want to see if your values align, right? Is this going to be the right fit for me? Because, and I'll probably speak to this a couple times, an internship opportunity not only is an opportunity for them to see how you perform as a potential future employee, but you get to try them out. Is this where I want to be? This is where I see myself as, a future employer. So prepare, look at that job description. You were hired very specifically to do that role. Find out what you need to do, right? What are they going to be asking you? And so really approach that with more of like the curiosity. You definitely want to know more about what they do. You're going to have this approximately 3 month opportunity. I promise it goes by so quick. And so these kinds of tips and things that I'll be sharing with you today are also for you to be able to do some reflection, to be able to not only maximize your time there, but also take that with you again down the road, because this opportunity is going to be one that you're going to be able to speak to. You're going to tailor your resume. You're going to have some experience on there, and you want to be able to speak to what you've done. So mindset. You're not just an intern, right? And I'll talk about this again and again. You could be a future employee of theirs. And so just go in that with that mindset. Don't think of this as just a temporary thing. Go in thinking that you're going to be working for them potentially long term. Again, if it's the right fit for you and for them. You want to ask lots of questions. They expect that from you, and they want to hear questions from you because that shows them that you're curious, you want to know more, and you want to develop your knowledge and information a little bit more. So go in prepared. So this is a great way that you could actually create some goals. And this is probably not new to you. I'm sure everyone's heard of SMART goals, right? But this is something very specifically that you can do and use in an internship opportunity. So you want to have, of course, these very specific, defined, and think of within the time frame in your internship role, right? You want them to be measurable. So again, thinking of the time frame that you have and what do you hope to gain from them? What are your takeaways? What do you want to accomplish? Make sure they're realistic, right? If I go in with a mindset that I'm going to be the CFO or the CEO, that's a great goal, fantastic goal. But is it a achievable goal in an internship opportunity, right? Maybe, but maybe not this time around. But maybe we need to go back long term. Relevant, is it aligned with your cybersecurity career? Is that an alignment that you can make? And then also making sure that it's time bound. Because again, You can do small bite-sized goals. I love to share that with students because I think it's important sometimes when you're developing goals that you're trying to take on these very lofty, right? These very big goals. Break them down to bite-sized manageable pieces so they're more attainable and you can make those time-bound as well. So I'm curious, reflection as we're thinking about internships, preparing, how could you sharpen your goals to make them more clear and more achievable with an internship opportunity? What do you think? Yeah,
I found it interesting, but it was good recently about that. To be honest, I was being very discouraged for a year because things had been rejected.
yeah,
And I finally, instead of thinking my goal to get an internship, it was like just to get an interview. Like just be grateful for something.
sure.
I entertained a phone interview, which I know is not quite full interview, but like it was something that like it actually was good just to get the extra, get a something.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just like setting my bar a little bit lower,
Mhm.
like just maybe put them up, I guess, and just like push that as opposed to just giving it quickly.
Yeah.
And trying to find something.
That's it's a great tactic to reevaluate, right? Assess where there's at and maybe, yeah, reassess in that achievable. And I think you should not feel bad about a phone interview. That's fantastic. I have to say that phone interview is the next step in order to get to that in person, to get to that, job offer. So that's great. I really appreciate that you shared that. That's really a good one. How did you feel about the phone interview afterwards?
I mean, I felt about it.
Yeah.
I think I heard people got interviews for the same position, like
Yeah.
in particular areas, like I think it's pretty competitive. But it was cool. I was glad to spend experience. I think fun.
Sure.
So yeah.
Yeah. And it is easy to get discouraged in a job search. I talk to people all the time about that feeling of dread and I'm not going to get that interview. I'm not moving forward in my job search. Rest assured, we've all experienced that feeling and persistence is key, right? And then it's just also for that evaluation. If you're not getting the interviews, you're not feeling like you're making progress within your job search, I think it's time then and this will be a plug for my services, right? So come to our office to take some time to do an evaluation of your resume. Let's talk about interviewing skills. We can do a mock interview together because you might feel really confident about your resume. And I feel like I've been in this trap where I get too close to it and I'm not seeing some obvious gaps and holes or things that I could tweak to make better. Especially, and here's a key too, and I don't want to get off road and talk about resumes and job search strategies, but I have to say, make sure you're tailoring your resume to every single position that you're applying for. You want to make sure that it is not just a generic resume, right? I think you get into that trap, especially when you're applying to as many positions and you're getting discouraged, you're just like trying to get it out there. Make sure you're taking the time and the energy to make sure it is fine-tuned to whatever position you're applying to. That's going to be really key. And I'm going to say this a couple times because I had to do my shameless plug, but we are moving. We were located in Dana 140, and we're going to be actually in the new Schweitzer Engineering Hall as of next week. So we're going to be there on the main floor. And the ground floor is not, it's just ground, and then it's going to be one. So the welcome center, as you walk through the door, there's going to be Kamiak coffee, which is going to be really exciting. And then straight ahead will be the welcome center. And so that's where we're located. So just want to make sure that you know that we're there to help and support you all. So, but I would say, yeah, continue to think of your goals. And as you're aligning them with your internship, again, just be asking yourself, what do I hope to accomplish? What do I want to take away from this opportunity? How can I make this valuable? And really doing these smart personal development goals is a great key. So making a first impression, I would say this is going to be so important. I just went to Boeing and did an industry tour. It was fantastic. We went to the Everett Delivery Center. It was so much fun. We got to sit down with Coug alumni and they told us about their experience. And one thing, and I loved how the students who participated asked these questions. And one of them said, how do I stand out, right? What can I do to stand out from another intern or within a job search or in an interview setting? And they said, be enthusiastic, right? So I know that sometimes it's hard for us to because sometimes we're more introverted. I know I call myself an introverted extrovert, or yeah, an introverted extrovert. I love to talk with people, but it sometimes can be challenging and it takes a lot of my energy, right? But I would say that it's important for you to be able to really step outside sometimes your comfort zone and show enthusiasm, right? Ask engaging questions, be present at your internship. That's going to go a long ways. It's going to make employers notice you and allow for them to get to know you and look at as a potential, again, employee for the future. So introduce yourself, start building relationships. I can't stress this enough. This might be the most valuable, besides the skills they're going to learn, of course. Building relationships and building a network is going to be one of the most valuable things that you can do in an internship opportunity. So start introducing yourself. I know sometimes, like I say, for me as well, it's like a little intimidating to put myself out there and introduce myself to people for the very first time. But this is going to be a key. This is going to be valuable. Demonstrate curiosity, right? You want to know about what kind of things are they working on? What will you be working on? Keep a running journal of different things that you're learning. Now, keep in mind, if you go into a work environment, they might have you sign an NDA. So be very careful about what you're journaling because you want to be able to take that with you, right? And you don't want to take information that you can't take with you when you leave because you want to be able to reference back to that information. And so just keep that in mind when I talk about journaling. But this is going to be really key because I guarantee when you go into that, when you leave your internship and you're going into maybe a job search, you want to be able to remember some of those projects that you worked on. I know as I sit down, I think back to some of my work experiences, I'm like, gosh, what did I do specifically? How can I demonstrate my projects and my accomplishments and a resume? And so a journal is a fantastic way to be able to do that. You can reference information very quickly and remember what you did. But learn the security culture and how the risk is assessed and what priorities drive decisions. So there's a lot of things for you to be able to learn more about this company that you're working for. I would say that you're going to just probably get just the top of a 3-month period of time is not a long time, but you utilize that time so you can really dive in and learn more about it. So maximizing your daily habits, right? So again, short time period, you need to capitalize on every single day that you're there. So manage your time. So balance those tasks. I know sometimes it's easy to get stuck into a project and get that tunnel vision, right? Make sure that you're looking for other opportunities. Taking on other projects as well. But balancing your time because you want to be able to build meaning and value in all the projects that you complete and have experience with. Seek out side projects, maybe shadowing experiences. If you heard of something really cool about this department that they're doing and might not be in the, specifically in your wheelhouse for your internship, maybe request to do a job shadow. Maybe see what they do in a different department. See if that's allowed, if that's something that's possible. But I think it's really important to be able to check in regularly with your mentor or your supervisor. They're going to be a very valuable tool for you, right? They're going to be a guide through your experience, and you want to make sure that you have a good open line of dialogue and communication with them along the way. Again, document your process, that journal that we talked about. Engaging actively, again, you don't want to be, stuck into a meeting and not have any engagement. I would say it's an easy trap to be in, especially as a newbie, right? Do I have something to contribute? Can I say something? Ask questions. This is a value, this is something that not everyone gets to do is sit in on team meetings and staff meetings, things like that, project meetings. Ask questions, be present, be engaged, because again, this is a valuable experience you don't want to waste. Be curious. Again, that's kind of a running theme, right? Be curious, be enthusiastic, really show that you're interested in learning more, right? That's going to be your key. Any questions about any of these? I keep running quickly through my slides. All right. All right. So again, you've heard me talk about building your professional network. This is going to be really, really important. Ask smart questions, right? Talk to professionals outside your team. You're going to see a lot, and I hear this again and again. I keep going back to Boeing because I was just there. But they have these cross-functional teams, right? They're talking constantly with different departments and interacting with different departments. And I heard again and again from the Coug alumni when they did that session where they, ask a Coug a question. It was really cool. But one thing that they learned was that they were making great, valuable contacts in the different departments. And it was very helpful because when they came to do these projects, it allowed them to have that relationship and continue to build. Did they always see eye to eye? I thought that was interesting. Like, no, sometimes they didn't. But it was the relationships they built with each other that they could move past some of those, maybe didn't always agree on how to move forward in a project, but they've built a team, and some learned that they really wanted to be in this other department, right? From talking and making these connections. So build a cross-functional network. It's going to be very valuable. Use LinkedIn. I have followed your week on LinkedIn. I've loved it. It was so fun to be able to see all the different places and the things and your speakers. LinkedIn is a valuable tool for you to be able to connect with your professional network on a consistent basis, because you're going to see that there is going to be a lot of ways that you can network with individuals on things like LinkedIn. But I would say, of course, be careful of what you post. I would encourage you to talk with your supervisor, talk with your manager, your mentor about what's appropriate to post and what's not, because some companies really do want you to post about your internship. I see so many, like, I just accepted a position, an internship with such and such company. That's fantastic. Do that. Maybe continue to update and do LinkedIn posts about your experience. Employers love to see that, and it's a great opportunity for them for you to show what you're doing, but also what others are doing, so they can see and be interested and be intrigued by your internship. But it's a fantastic way to keep connected as well. Join company Slack team channels, obviously relevant to the cybersecurity discussions that they're having. I think that's going to be important. I've learned, so I shared with you, I'm new to my role. I've learned so much from my team's chat. It's amazing. Like like, go here, do this. This is what so there's value in gaining in access to these types of channels and things, because you're going to see a lot of communication. And I have to say, this sometimes a great tool. I don't know, can you answer this question for me? And it's a great way to get that information exchange as well. So I promise you're going to learn a lot. How can you maintain a professional relationship beyond the internship? What are some ideas? I know some of you are going to be entering into internships. You've already gone through one. How do you think that you can maintain relationships with individuals after you ended your internship? Yeah.
Like get their contact.
Yes, get their contact information. Yeah, that's perfect. I think it's very appropriate. And that will allow you to have that continued dialogue, right? And connection, which is so valuable. Cool, thank you. Anything else? Any other ideas? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was actually a cool way to like keep explain what we're doing on
Yeah.
last summer.
Oh, good.
Company and everything we're doing. So
Yeah.
I think maybe like being involved in like commenting on that and like just like showing like the interested in culture. Made them part of I'm not quite sure, but I don't think it hurt.
I don't think it hurt at all. I think you hit the nail on the head. You stayed relevant. You stayed in the conversation. You showed continued interest in there. That's super valuable for sure. Thank you. Did you have some?
Them on LinkedIn, all those media. Social media helps people to engage with them, follow them on media, those who like writing technical things, and then make comments on them, ask them questions, you engage with them, and then once you keep doing that, if you have any other thing you need to do, you make them as references, so that in that way they know you already, and when you enter the market, they can know you to the.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yes. Social media is wonderful for that. And it allows for that continued, kind of like you're mentioning, continued engagement and ability to connect with individuals even after your internship. So that's fantastic. Thank you. Cool. Go ahead. So what you want to do, as I talked about, and this is where that journaling really comes in, is have the opportunity to be able to track your progress, projects that you've worked on, Again, super important because what it allows you to do is be able to reference back to that information. Again, I can't tell you how many times reflect on an experience. I mean, even for this particular role, when I entered back into the world of career services and workforce development and employer relations, going back, like, okay, I work for LCSC in this particular role. Like, who did I? Okay, yeah. And so, there's things that you can use, like a resume is a great tool. Um, Making sure that you're updating it very quickly, of course, as you're going through your internship opportunity is super important. But I would say that something that you can do, and if you're in the Propel program, you'll be doing this anyways, but talk about that, is to ask to do a final presentation. I think this is a really cool idea because it allows for you to reflect on your experience. And so you can connect with your supervisor, with your manager, and say, I'd really like to give a final presentation. I'm curious, has anybody been approached or shared that you'll be doing one at the end of your present or your internship? You have. Good. They let you know that you'll be doing something like that. Fantastic. Great. So they've already paved the way. You know what to expect. And so I would say, even if it's not expected of you, highly encourage you to consider requesting to do something like this, because it's a great way to summarize, your internship experience, but also demonstrates to your supervisor, your mentor, maybe future employer, that everything that you've learned. And it's a great recap. Again, make sure you've updated your resume and LinkedIn with all your accomplishments, and use quantifiable results if possible. So that's really going to be important. I would say that that's something that a lot of individuals are not doing within their resume. You want to be able to demonstrate the different projects that you've worked on. What did you accomplish? What were the outcomes? These are really important to be able to demonstrate, especially in a technical resume format. I think it's very important that you start thinking about those kinds of things. It doesn't have to always be in a work experience. It could be in research. It could be class projects. But those are that's the mindset I'd love for you to start looking at and using as your the lens with your own resume. So how can I demonstrate quantifiable results on my resume? And so that's, again, I'll do my another shameless plug for our career services to help assist students. But I'd love to be able to schedule some time to sit down with you all to review your resume with you, to be able to give feedback and make suggestions, especially after your internships. And guess what? We have a fall career fair coming up. I have to say it's probably going to be the busiest time for my office, and I love it. I'm getting excited about it because we want to help prepare students to get in front of employers. I have had some conversations with students who've been offered internships in the fall for the summer. It's a prime time. You'd be surprised. Those employers, those industry representatives who are coming on in the fall are actually going to be looking to fill summer internships. You can believe it, in October. So be ready, be prepared to be able to put your internship experiences, all your classroom projects, everything that you've been working on, and make sure you don't discount your transferable skills. So has anybody worked in an occupation or a position maybe that's not relevant to your degree? Great. Can you tell me?
Yeah, I did retail, like sales at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Dick's, nice. Okay, cool. Nice. Did you have your hand raised? I'm sorry. Navy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's definitely a transferable skill. Heck yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For like 5 years.
My heart goes out to you. I was too. Yeah, where do you work? Or where did you? Okay. Well, very nice. Good. Lots of diverse experience. That's wonderful. Well, I just want to say that do not discount that experience. That is valuable. And it might not go in the top half of your resume, right? But you want to be able to demonstrate and be able to speak to your experiences. Those are super valuable. You're showing transferable skills. You can show up, punctuality, different things that you accomplish, customer service skills, right? Talking to customers, having that experience to be able to communicate, because I promise you, employers are not just going to look at your hard skills, right? Those skills that you've learned in the classroom, those types of hard skills. They're looking for soft skill development as well. They want you to be able to communicate with your coworkers, right? They want you to have these conversations and be able to maybe do conflict management, right? Sometimes when we're working closely with individuals, conflict might arise, and so how can you talk and be proactively working with your coworkers? And so I promise they're going to be asking you those skills-based questions as well. So not only those, tell me what you've learned within the classroom, Tell me when about a time, it was behavioral interviews. So usually past behavior is a good indicator of future behavior, right? So they want to talk about, tell me about a time, right? So you want to be prepared to be able to have situations. I can imagine it being in the armed forces, you have a lot of transferable skills you could speak to. And so just being able to build out that resume and be able to talk about that with your future employer is very valuable. How do you think you're going to showcase your internship achievements? How can you showcase those? Seemingly after your internship. How do you think you can do that? Kind of touched on a couple. Update your resume. Yeah. Ask for help if you need some. Yeah. Update your LinkedIn profile. Yeah. Keep in contact with your social media outlet, right? Update all of that information. Lots of good ways to be able to showcase this. It's your time to really kind of, so I know we're a humble society, right? Don't talk about yourself, don't boast. But this is your time to really, put yourself out there. You're in an active job search, perhaps. This is your time to talk about yourself and really put yourself out there. Look everything I've done. Look what I've accomplished. So next up, so you've gone through your internship. You've utilized maximized every moment of it, right? You've developed your network. You've updated your resume. What are some other things that you can do? I would say look for certification opportunities, right? So you probably gained a lot of great insight into the industry. Right? You got to be hands-on within your internship. Now, what kind of certification different certification programs and things, maybe ask while you're in your internship. Get some insight, get some feedback. Always look for continued learning paths, professional development resources. There's some great professional societies out there as well. Make connections. Look for club opportunities where you can continue your experience and gain more experience in transferable skills. Industry network events. So I talked about the fall career fair that's coming up before we know it. I say that because I'm helping plan and it will be here before we know it. No stress, no. But there's also some wonderful industry networking events that coincide with that kind of event as well. And highly encourage you to be part of those. Again, can't stress enough, networking, right? Build that network far and wide. It's gonna really be beneficial for you. Follow up and stay connected with your network. You've heard me say this a lot of times. That's because it's so important. Again, going back to that hidden job market, can you guess what percentage of jobs are not even advertised out there? Hint, it's staggering. What do you think? What percentage of jobs make up that hidden job?
50%.
Oh, good guess. Higher.
51%.
Raise you by half a percent. It's more. Yeah.
67%.
Good guess. It's more. All right. I'll take 80%. Isn't that staggering? For me, I think it's staggering. But think about it. When you got your jobs, maybe, how many times was it by word of mouth? Like your brother's uncle, cousin, maybe told you about something. Or it was that you made a connection with someone and they shared with you, they knew you were looking for a job. And in conversation, a position came up. They're like, oh, I know just the person who could fill this role. So networking is huge. And I have to say, and I often will tell your barber, tell everyone in your family, everyone that in your social circle, anyone that you interact with, your professors, tell everybody that you're looking for an opportunity. It will definitely be helpful and beneficial for you. So I would say, when you're preparing for your next steps, it's going to be important. But again, another shameless plug, but no, I think this one is really important for you all to have awareness around. Has anybody heard of the Propel internship program? Oh no. One, okay. You think so? Okay. You do. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So the Propel internship program is a fantastic program that's available to you. And the wonderful thing is that you can actually, it's like a win-win, right? You get to work in an internship opportunity or a co-op, and you earn academic credit towards your graduation. And it goes towards your technical or free electives towards graduation. So it meets that criteria, that requirement. And the neat thing also is that it's a 2 credit course. It's well, I shouldn't, I was going to say engineering 488, but it's a 488 class. And when you're enrolled in it, it's a 2 credit class, it's a full-time status. And so regardless if you're doing a summer internship, a 6-month internship, you can do upwards of a 12-month internship and maintain your full-time student status while you're enrolled in this course. It does require that you do a lot of reflection. So some of these things when I talk about like journaling and things like that, it is built in. It is all asynchronous, but it is a Canvas course where you're enrolled in. And so you're going to submit reports and you're going to do a lot of reflection. You're going to actually get feedback with for your resume a couple times and read some interviewing skills. So there are requirements for the course. It's not just you're enrolled and you're working. There are other aspects to it, but it's all centered around your internship. And then at the end of that internship, you'll be enrolled in 489, and that is for 1 credit. And it's all that reflection. So you're looking back on your internship opportunity and you know what to work with. So a total of 3 credits, which is really wonderful. And it's a fantastic opportunity. So some of the criteria that it has to be at least 50% for 50% of your occupation or your position has to be related to your career. And so that is one of the requirements. So what happens is you turn in an application, there's an employer form, and then I send it off to faculty to review and to approve. Once I get that approval, then I enroll into the course. And so it's a really simple process, really. If you're at all interested and you'd like to get more information about it, please let me know. I'd be very happy to provide any additional insight into it. It's really underutilized. I was sharing 60 students enrolled this summer, but honestly, when you think about the whole college, it's a very small percentage of students that are in our college. So I want to build that. I want to get the word out. So tell your friends. We talk about strong career outcomes, and then there's also, of course, the membership and support throughout your internship, not only within your company, but also through VCU. All right. Well, I want to ask or answer questions that you may have. I know I shared a lot of information with you. It's a pretty short period of time. I really want to be a resource. If you have any questions, it doesn't have to be just about internships, anything about the career, the landscape of the job search right now, going about finding internship opportunities. I'm here to answer any questions.
Great. We've got the speaker.
How long does the application process take for that Propel program?
I would say it goes fairly quickly. I would say, so some matters are outside of your control, such as faculty coordinator reviewing that information. But I have to say they're very quick about it. So I would say as soon as you get your application in, what you do is you send a request to your employer. They have to fill out a form. It's all true. So I get a notification that it's been completed. I take that information and then I send it off to your faculty coordinator, and then they do a final review. If they have any questions, they always follow up with me and I can pass those questions along to you. But I would say, honestly, it's only been a few days sometimes. It's taken to have a faculty coordinator get back to me.
So you would say it's possible to do that in like a week for this summer?
That's a great question. So today is actually the cutoff.
Okay.
I could certainly reach out to the faculty, your faculty coordinator, so I don't have bringing business cards. I will share my information. Yeah, my contact information. You can
So I can follow up. I'll get back this to you guys. You may have questions. So the Propel one, I'm a professor, I should know, and I have heard, but I don't think I have encouraged any student to take it, but I've had students that have done internships all the time, right? So the internship has to happen first, right? They have to secure an internship, and then they enroll for this class.
That is accurate. Yes, as soon
Okay.
as they have an official job offer, so
Yeah.
you have an official letter of offering you a position, then that's the kind of the catalyst. So you can then apply for, and you could even apply for fall now if you have an internship over, you know, the fall or spring semester.
So if they did an internship in the summer, could they use it in the fall? No.
sadly, no.
At the time.
It has to be at the time.
Okay.
Fantastic question. Yes, we can't retroactively use hours that are earned in the summer for a fall enrollment into the Propel program. So you have to be enrolled in the program and be working in your internship for those hours to count towards your credits. Yeah, and the magic number is 420 hours. And that's how many hours you have to earn in order to earn the credit. And so that's at full time, about 10 and a half weeks or so. So that's a kind of your gauge to determine. However, you can also in the fall, summer is the only time because you have to be enrolled into 2 classes. You can't be enrolled in just one credit in the summer. But let's say in fall, you're working part-time. You can actually be enrolled in a part-time status. And so you can work 20 hours a week. Maybe you're going to school full-time, you're working part-time. You can earn 1 credit, and then let's say in the spring, earn another credit as you're working part-time, as long as at the end, within a calendar year, you earn 420 hours to earn both credits.
Anybody needs this? No, you need it. Okay.
This isn't really a career question. I was just like wondering, like, where you went to school and like, how did you like get to this point of like being part of career services? Is it something you like always wanted to do? Yeah. Oh, cool.
I lived in Pullman. We lived probably 8-10 years outside of Pullman, but decided to come back. We wanted our kids to be part of the school system. And so I'm proud to say I had one that's already graduated from Pullman and one that will has 2 years. So, yeah. But no, when I graduated from WSU, so something else about Pullman, it's kind of expected that you go to WSU, at least back in the day. It's like, oh, you're going to WSU. Okay. So I'm glad that I did. It was such a wonderful experience. My degree is in human development, actually. My emphasis in adolescent development. And so I knew I wanted to work with adolescents, right? You probably don't think of yourself without early adulthood. But and so I went to work for a private nonprofit. I was working with the WIOA program, as a Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which is helping adults and youth with their job search, with building skills. So I would do internships and work experiences to help individuals gain work experience, regardless if they're a youth or an adult. And so that actually, I was recruited away from that position to be a recruiter for CySER. So that's really where I sort of got my start, and I got my taste for career services. It's really through CySER. I love my time with CySER. I highly recommend if you are at all interested in them as an employer. I have so many wonderful opportunities. I feel like I still work for them. Like always talk about how wonderful they are. But they're fantastic. And the only reason I made a job change is I had a child and I stayed home for a little while. And so yeah, I couldn't, private jets. I wanted to do private jets. So, it was great. We were traveling all over the country for career fairs and things like that. It was amazing. But like I say, made some life changes, life habits, right? And so then I got back into career services, actually working for the state. So I worked for about 8 years for the Employment Security for WorkSource, having heard of WorkSource. So they help individuals with job search, and did that for a long time actually. And so yeah, continued my experience, and then worked for an online faith school, working with a program for quite some time. And then this position, well, actually, I have to say, I got my start at WSU about 3 years ago. Have anybody heard of the conduct office? Okay, yeah. And so I was the director for the conduct office for years. And then this position opened up. Like, oh my gosh, like my dream job, right? It's been all the experiences that I've had. And I also worked for LCSE. I did some internship development and workforce development and things too. So I could glazing over a whole bunch of need my resume. But no, that's kind of a journey, honestly, which led me to this particular role, which I know, I've only been in for 3 months, but it has been such an amazing opportunity. I love connecting with students and with employers. It's like the best of both worlds, right? I get to help students with their career services and their goals, but also I get to help with employers and making a connection, finding out what their needs are, and then making that, that connection for quality. Yeah, that's kind of my journey.
Thank you.
So in our industry panel yesterday, one of the panelists is actually from CySER, recommended to help your application stand out to include a cover letter with your resume. So I was wondering if you agree, disagree with that, or if you do a cover letter, what are the best kind of general things to put in there?
It's a great question. I would say that every employer is a little bit different. I'm a pro, I'm pro to cover letter, not a con. I'm a pro to to cover letter. I think a cover letter is a fantastic way for you to tell your story, right? So your resume can speak to, can tell a story, right? But your cover letter gives it a voice, right? So you can speak, you can articulate these experiences and how they relate to not only your past experiences, but the position you're applying for, and it brings it together, right? And so I think, yes, I appreciate a cover letter. As a recruiter, I can, former recruiter, I can also say that we don't spend a lot of time with the resumes. There's so many resumes to look at. And we didn't even touch on ATS, which, was a whole other thing. So we could talk about that another time if we get together. New technology that larger companies are using to weed out resumes. But a cover letter is a fantastic way for you to really bring it all together. And it gives your voice, right? It should be your voice coming through in your cover letter, because it demonstrates not only your curiosity, but your enthusiasm, and why behind I'm the best candidate for this position. So heck yes. I know sometimes not all systems allow for, additional documents. Will they always get looked at? Maybe not, but I would encourage you to create and draft something, again, personalize it for each position you're applying for. So I've seen that too come through. It will be, I'm applying for XYZ. I'm like, this is not XYZ position. So make sure you're really doing that quality check. Make sure you're, if you are including a cover letter that is very specifically for the position you're applying for, because that's a big turn-on too. Yeah, they didn't really look this one over too much, so it's in the detail. But yes, to your long-winded answer, yes, I definitely would encourage the cover.
I think we have to wrap it up here. I could sit down and listen to this. It's very interesting. And thanks, Michelle, for asking a question that made Lisa share her story on where she, how she went about and being in the career that she's now. You did a fantastic job on the topic we wanted to address, and it was how to maximize, make the most out of your internship. And I followed along, and you were on point on every single thing that you said there. So I really appreciate it. And there were some great questions from students. We are having our last speaker wrap up for the day, but let's give a big round of applause for Lisa for the excellent job. Thank you so much. So what we'll do is